Hello everyone, this is Defense Politics Asia, and this is the summary for the day of 1099 to 1100 day 1100 for the 26th to 27th of February of 2025 for the Ukraine war, or the special military operation in Ukraine. And some troll a few days ago, I guess, say that I call this special military operation because he was accusing me as pro-Russian. And I was like, I always call this Ukraine war, or the special military operation in Ukraine. So anyway, press the like button. Oh, the like button will bite you in your butt. And and also subscribe if you are not subscribed, because only people who don't subscribe, So anyway, we go to we're going to start off with the Kursk front. We're going to go anti-clockwise direction. There's a lot of major frontline changes in the reports, which I did report separately as frontline changes report. And also there is also all the latest frontline changes as per this recording, some of which actually is, I think not much, but no, there's a lot of geolocations until this moment of recording that is not appeared in the frontline changes report. So we're going to go into the Kursk front first. Before we jump into it, there is a geolocation of another S-300 that was destroyed. Previously, we have already one S-300 destroyed over here, just off of Velyka Novosilka. Then we now, oh, come on, man, load faster, man. Yeah, no. So near Velyka Novosilka, there's another one here at Dvorichna. All these S-300s are all clustered in a pretty close region. Very interesting. That there is this kind of high concentration of air defense around this sector. Must be something, not natural, not normal at all. So over the western flank, the Russian mapping have mapped that they have much more bigger control over on the western flank. Particularly over in the Lochnia region, as well as Lebedevka. And in the claim, basically the Russians have straightened the front line all along the water body from Nikolsky to Lochnia, as well as capturing half of Lebedevka. Svediklovo is mentioned. So the Ukrainian mapping have mapped in the gray zone that stretches to Novenke. But this is a gray zone. So I didn't change my mapping because I don't map their gray zones. But it does show that the Russians are attacking somewhat in the direction of Novenke, which differs from the Russian reports in previous days, where the Russians talk about the Zuravka and then south of Darino, and however the Ukrainians is talking about Novenke. So that's somewhat interesting in that sense. Otherwise, we have all these other reports. The reports are, of course, as usual, Russian Defense Ministry reports, and there are some of them is Ryba because of the frontline change around here. And with this frontline change over here, it does make sense that the Russian Defense Ministry announced the capture of Nikolsky. So this is reported by the Russian Defense Ministry and was echoed by the Russian source Ryba. I've put the source. The source should be, I think, this one. Yeah, I'm not sure why I pasted the wrong thing. So anyway, I did do a Kursk battlefield analysis on the DPA War channel. Not a lot of people are interested in it, but somehow I'm not sure why. I find that the battlefield analysis is super entertaining. Despite I do it myself. This is not to blow my own trumpet, which is, I'm definitely not blowing my own trumpet. I'm blowing my own horn. But I felt like it brings a lot more clarity in terms of how to look at the battlefield. So. And in the report, I did mention about some significance about how Nikolsky is going to cut off some of these major roads leading southward from the northern flank, which does put the northern flank into some kind of danger for the Ukrainians. So check it out. Basically, and also there's fighting report at Yuzhny. So which means that the Russian forces have captured Nikolsky. They attack Lochnia, Lebedevka, straightening the front line in this area here, pushing towards Yuzhny, as well as fighting in the Svediklovo region, moving southward towards Sumy. So this is the western flank, and of course we have the shelling report at Kupyansk, Kubatkin, Kutbankin, Kazachstan, there is a geolocation or FPV drone strike on the Max Pro. So Ukrainians clearly still have vehicles. So that's what it is. In the northern flank, we have the Ukrainian mapping. Basically, this one, did I not grade out anything? Let me see. I did. 26, 27. Oh yeah, it's a 26, 27 report. My bad. I was like in the days because I'm actually feeling sleepy. I'm changing my sleeping hours to something more healthy, I guess. So the Ukrainian mapping have mapped that they have taken this. They have lost this territory as well as the west of the Orlovka. The Russian Defense Ministry announced the capture of Pokrovsk and Orlovka. The battle is now moving towards Novaya Sorokina. Russian mapping have mapped it in this way with the tree line on the south or in the gully or or whatever forest thingy is actually taken by the Russian forces in the south of Novaya Sorokina, and over on the south of Nedenov, the Russian forces allegedly have also moved up here, according to the Russian reports. Malaya Lognia, there is a geolocation of Ukrainian forces around Malaya Lognia, so it didn't change at the front line, so not particularly important. So the Russians are definitely putting pressure right now to potentially this potential pincer, although this is a bit far. And of course, they have this massive push southward to try to drive the Ukrainians out. And there is, as I mentioned earlier, there is all this threat because Nikolsky has fallen. The Russians potentially can head eastward, cut off all these roads and railway lines and basically the communication routes. And this will force the Ukrainians into a strategic withdrawal because they will not be able to hold a position if these lines are taken. So this is a threat that is facing them. So we move on over to the Sudja region. At the Sudja region, we have quite a number of stuff. So as usual, we have the shelling reported at Oleshnya, Gogolevka, Rubenskina, Zalesenka, Goncharovka, Sudja, and fighting is reported at Myrny, Bondarevka, as well as Manovka, Milovoye, Kurilovka, although this is part of the southern flank. And then frontline changes over here. These are Russian claims as well. So the Russians are suddenly very hardworking, put out a lot of mapping. So allegedly taken agronom in the process of this mapping change, putting pressure on Bondarevka. So that makes sense. Yeah, this could also be the reason why we have the reports of fighting at Myrny, reported by the Russian Defense Ministry on 26. So yeah, that's all from the Sudja region. This geolocation is an FPV drone strike on IFV, infantry fighting vehicle. Not particularly, super important. Just showing the Ukrainians are there. That's all. The Ukrainians are still there. And oops. Oh no, what did I do? Oh no. Oh wait. Undo. Oh no. What? Undo. Oh shit, give me a second. Okay, I found a button. There's actually a button of undo here. So I accidentally moved the map. So yeah, and my shortkeys is kind of like messed up. So there's a lot in the southern flank. Of course, I already mentioned Milovoye and Kurilovka. There's fighting reported in Goevo as well. Multiple geolocation of Russian airstrikes was noted in the region. The Russians continue to bombard this entire southern flank, trying to hit all the Ukrainian defensive position, regional HQs and for operating positions. And they also destroyed a alleged breach around here just off Gornau. I'm not sure where's the breach. Is this the breach? Yeah, whatever. So there's a alleged destruction of a breach. This one is geolocated by military summary. So that's about it in the Kursk front. So exciting shit. So over in the after the bed sheet, the bed sheet. No, the sheet means bed sheet. No. So over at Kharkiv front. At the Kharkiv front, we have shelling reported at Zolokiv. It's mentioned by the Russian Defense Ministry somewhat, so I just mapped it in. but we don't really like to track shelling reports because no one cares. Lipsy is mentioned by the Russian Defense Ministry on the 27th, and in Vovchansk it is mentioned by both Russian and Ukrainian Defense Ministry, with the skirmishes continuing on over in that sector. With fighting reported Vovchansk and Lipsy. Kharkiv continued to be this sleepy front, so don't expect too much from this region, as the Russians currently have no intentions to go towards Kharkiv city, which is basically in the south here. So the Russians are not going to go there for now. Geolocation before we reach the Dvorichna front of FPV drone strike. So this FPV drone strike is interesting to me because yeah, it's pretty far. It's basically 18 kilometers from Russian lines. So this is one hell of a far FPV drone strike. So this is definitely something of concern for the Ukrainian side. Over in the Dvorichna front, in the northern flank, we have report of Stroivka being attacked by the Russian Defense Ministry, by the Russian forces, according to the Ukrainian Defense Ministry on the 26th. This is a one-off attack. Is 27. There was no report of the fighting around here, so this is probably just harassment, some kind of a diversion for the Ukrainians to pull forces away from that, because the Russians previously was going for Kanyamka. So this was the previous attack. So we shall continue to monitor and see what the Russians are up to around here. Over in the Dvorichna, we have Russian claims. Russian mapping have claimed that they have secured Vyholivka as well as most of Dvorichna, including a push in the northwestern direction. So this is pretty bit significant in terms of the frontline changes. Dvorichna is mentioned by the Ukrainian Defense Ministry to be fighting on the 26th, along with Ryba. 27, there's no reports. Vyholivka also is on the 26th. So everybody just keep quiet about this. At Kupyansk itself, there is geolocation of LMUR. LMUR is typically, my understanding, is a helicopter guided missile strike. So the Russian helicopters are back. The attack helicopters, probably Ka-52, launching strikes. This is not impossible. Like they could potentially launch a missile strike from 15-20 kilometers at least, I guess, for a helicopter. I'm not sure. I'm not a geek into military technologies, but yeah, maybe some of you guys may know, because I know that a lot of people are military enthusiasts. They really get into all the nuts and bolts of all these military equipment. Personally, I don't. I just like to see the missiles. Wow, so pretty, and then boom, wow, so nice. That's all I care, And I can't tell a difference between the T-90 and the T-72. Like, I thought T-72 always have the barrels at the back, but I was wrong. It is not necessarily the case. They can remove the barrels. So it's like, okay. So anyway, Zaporizhzhia was mentioned by Ryba because of the frontline, the mapping. Moloshinivka was mentioned by the Russian Defense Ministry on the 26th. Malashapkivka also on the 26th. Kindrashivka is mentioned a bit more by Ryba, Russian Defense Ministry, and then Ukrainian Defense Ministry on the 27th. So definitely this is one of the main pushes. This direction is definitely one of the main push. Holubivka is mentioned by the Russian Defense Ministry on the 27th. And Kalinov is mentioned by Ryba because of the frontline change around here. So in this southern flank of the Dvorichna front, Russian forces have expanded control all around Zaporizhzhia, taking quite a number of majorly important forests in these sectors, securing Zaporizhzhia and the front line, if you believe the Russian mapping, and that sets them up to attack Moloshinivka. And of course, around Kalinove, we always felt that the mapping here is a bit incomplete. Finally, we have some kind of more sensible mapping change, which makes sense because we have so much reports about fighting at Malashapkivka and Kindrashivka. So clearly, the Russians must have advanced. So this is how they managed to attack into Malashapkivka and Kindrashivka. So that's all from this region here. And Holubivka, of course, is mentioned, it's a sad brother, then nobody cares. But it could also, of course, attack from the rear position. There's a possibility rather than crossing the Oskil River. So, because there is a river around here. So the attack across the river is a little bit less likely. So most likely it's just the Russians, from these forests, they attack towards Holybivka. I think that is a possibility. So we move into the Kupyansk front. At the Kupyansk front, Russian forces have attacked Kupyansk according to the Russian Defense Ministry. Petropavlivka is by the Ukrainians, the Russians. They both mentioned on the 26th, 27th. They didn't mention much. Stepova Novosilka is mentioned on the 27th. And then, so generally, we have the attacks in this region here, like this, strategically, and Holybivka, of course. And so, quiet front. This sector in the near Kupyansk continues to be the main region that was very noisy, but we almost never see frontline changes. So probably just skirmishes, very similar to the Vovchansk situation. And there is a geolocation of missile strike on the Ukrainian position at Novosilka. So that's all from the Kupyansk front. And over at the Borova front, we have, let me see, how do I put it like this? We have shelling reported at Borova as well as Pivisorke. This is mentioned by the Russian Defense Ministry. Pivisorke is mentioned by Russians on the 26th. Borova is on the 27th. And then we have some reports of fighting at Zaporizhzhia, according to the Ukrainians, on the 26th. Lodzova is on the 27th by the Russians. Zelenihai by the Russians on the 26th. Kupyansk is by the Russians on the 26th. So it looks like the 26th it has a lot more reports of fighting by the look of it. But yeah, just take it with a pinch of salt. It's a war. They do fight, and then sometimes they don't always report. So that's all. This is a scammy front. Nothing changes around here. Over in the northern flank of the Lyman front, we have fighting reported at Kharkiv. So according to the Ukrainian Defense Ministry on the 26th, Holybivka, Ukrainians, Zelena Dolena, also reported by the Ukrainians. Ivanivka is by Raiba, and then the Ukrainian Defense Ministry largely is the one that is talking about Kolozyazi. So interesting. The Ukrainians are putting a lot of attention on this sector, talking about the Russians are really bullying. Is a big bully in this region here, but no frontline changes. So nothing particularly to really concern about, to worry about. Over in the southern part of the Lyman front, we have fighting reported at Yampolivka. Reported by the Ukrainians again and Raiba on the 27th, and Ukrainians talk about Toretsk. So the Russians totally did ignore this region here at all. Like they didn't talk about this, which is true. So this is the strategic look by Heat on this sector. Now, very quiet, nothing much. Shelling is reported at Yampil though. As usual, Yampil continued to appear in the reports by on the Russian Defense Ministry report. They constantly talk about Yampil somehow. There must be some kind of major Ukrainian military base at Yampil, which makes a lot of sense. It protects the crossing, and it also able to provide forces towards Siversk, towards Borova, Siversk Forestry, Toretsk. So it is a pretty strategically useful position, I would say. So let's see how this goes. At the Siversk front, we have shelling or attacks at Serbianka by the Russian Defense Ministry report on the 26th. Ukraine talk about Kharkiv on the same day. Bilohorivka is mentioned by the Ukrainians on the 27th. Velyka by the Russians on the 27th. Siversk on the 26th by the Russian Defense Ministry. So strategically, fighting in Bilohorivka, Velyka, perhaps Siversk in this way. Kharkiv, really hard to tell. Not sure it's through the forest or is it coming from the south. Yeah. So that's about it. That's all. Moving on over the northern flank of the Bakhmut front. So this is Bakhmut. Northern flank is over there. There is mention of fighting at Vovchansk according to the Russian and Ukrainian Defense Ministry on the 27th. Minkivka is mentioned on the 27th by the Russians. Novokanakove is mentioned by both sides across 2 days. So the Russians are attacking something like this. Yeah. So that's all. As usual, I always say that the Bakhmut front doesn't feel like that's that important to me. In the central flank, we have geolocation of Russian forces causing a frontline change at Zaporizhzhia. Fighting is reported at Zaporizhzhia according to the from both sides, Ukrainian and the Russians. Mykolaiivka is mentioned by the Russians in their reports, and Nikolaevka, but most likely is this, but it might be shelling, it might be attack. It's really hard to tell. Stupovsky is mentioned by the Ukrainians and the Russians, and the Ukrainians talk about Peteshny. So basically that makes the front line, the strategic look like this. Nothing but that particularly stands out to me, if you ask me. So over in the southern flank, there's nothing much. We go into Toretsk. Toretsk is a one hell of a messy situation right now. Very messy because of the geolocation of Ukrainian forces deep inside Russian controlled or allegedly controlled territory. So over in the Toretsk itself, let's take a look. Previous SITREP, we already mentioned about the Ukrainian forces entering from Krimsk into the depths of Mordor, and now they basically have reached at Mount Doom. You know, they're going to throw the ring to destroy Putin once and for all. Except that the Mount Doom is like here. They could have come from here. Like Mount Doom is a bit far, like this. So no, just joking. They are here, and so this geolocation is of a tower building that was destroyed by some kind of big explosion. So there's this towering building around here. It was blew up according to the description of the video. They say that the Ukrainians are hiding there. So on the multi-story building, and the Russians used a guided munition on it and destroyed it. So there's a lot of theories about why the Ukrainians are so deep. Some say that the Ukrainians has always been in there. Some say that the Ukrainians attacked into there, which is what I said. But I'm just saying it because of the mapping purpose. Because I have to draw the map like this. And the previous, like the Ukrainian mapping in Deep State UA, I always say that there's a lot of gray zones all around the place. They ignore certain Russian geolocations, or rather that they saw the geolocation, they assume that it's just a gray zone. So on our mapping, we map it as per the geolocations, and if there's no invalidation, we don't invalidate it. And the Russians did announce the capture of this city on the 7th of February, according to Russian Defense Ministry. They have captured Toretsk. So in that light, that the Russians already say that they have captured it, and let's say we give them that 5 cents, then this is a Ukrainian attack deep into the Russian-controlled Toretsk. So this is a major achievement, I would say. Despite the soldiers died, but at least they really draw this thing in. So the Ukrainians are counterattacking in Toretsk itself. However, the Ukrainian Defense Ministry mentioned about Russian attacks on Krimsk and Toretsk on both days. So the Ukrainian Defense Ministry continued their story that the Russians are still battling at Toretsk and Krimsk while the Ukrainians do this counterattack. Both settlements is declared captured by the Russian Defense Ministry. So let's see. Another geolocation south of Zaporizhzhia. This is Zaporizhzhia district. In this location, this video is the Russian soldier basically throwing a bomb in the alleged Ukrainian position and blow up the whole building, and then he run off this way. So as a result, this changed the front line in this way. This become a confirmed Russian capture in this area here, and then everything all the way up to Siversk. Because of this Ukrainian position, we have to assume that they have some kind of a communication route to the rear positions in the Ukrainian side. So which means that all the Russian claims all along to this line is now invalidated. Russian claim is invalidated. The Ukrainian claim will stay, and will be changed to capture, or rather, firm Ukrainian control. So we'll continue to monitor, which means the Russian lines is going to look a bit like this. Yeah, it's going to look like this. So this is an anteater. This is an anteater. Oh, this looking like a mole now. No. Yeah, he's not angry. He's not happy. Yeah. So anyway, so that's all from this frontline change, and the changes and the reports from this sector. Over the northern flank of the Pokrovsk front, at the northern flank of Pokrovsk front, Toretsk is mentioned by the Ukrainians on the 26th. Borova is mentioned on the 26th by the Russians. Berezivka is mentioned by the Ukrainians on the 27th. Yelizaveta is mentioned by the Russians on the 27th. So in combination, we have various reports of attacks in these regions. Very skirmishy. Doesn't feel like a major operation. The Russian Russian source, I would say rather pro-Russian source, military summary, basically geolocated. Ukrainian tank getting hit by FPV drone. So that's all for it. I actually do not know. I don't watch military summary. You tell me, is he pro-Russian or is he neutral or is it pro-Ukrainian? I think he's pro-Russian. My understanding of him of Dima is always pro-Russian, but yeah, whatever. So over at the Minokhrad sector, I think I have to put it like this. We have mention of Merne. Mention of Merne by the Ukrainian Defense Ministry. They mentioned Merne around here. And then Lyubivka is mentioned by both sides on the 26th. Novotoretsk on the 26th, prominent by the Ukrainians on both days. So again, very, very heavy on the Ukrainian controlled stuff. Ukrainian reports. Lysivka is mentioned by the Ukrainians. So meaning that the Merne was mentioned, Novotoretsk, Lyubivka, prominent, Lysivka. So yeah, so that's all. I think the main, this looks a bit intense. There's a lot of arrows in one small place. And there is also, of course, something to take note of Lysivka. However, we do not have enough intel to really tell what the hell is happening around here. And we move into the Pokrovsk sector. Pokrovsk sector of the Pokrovsk front. So Pokrovsk is here. And so Novo-Ukrainka is mentioned by the Ukrainians on the 27th. This is Ukrainian and Russian Defense Ministry on the 26th and 27th of Pokrovsk. Leontovishchi is mentioned on the 26th by the Ukrainians. Russian and Ukrainians talk about Visrove. Pischany is mentioned by the Russians. Kotline is mentioned by the Ukrainians and the Russians both. Udashne is by both as well. And then Uspenivka is by both. So Novo-Alexandrivka is mentioned by the Russians. So on the 26th. So let me see. So if you draw out all the arrows, this looks like this. Yeah, like this. And Uspenivka, Novo-Alexandrivka. Ukrainians allegedly have taken most of Kotline back, according to Ukrainian mapping. Geolocation of Ukrainian forces also show the continued presence around at Pischany. So that's the current sector situation around this area here. So that's it. I would say that's it. I just want to say one thing. YouTube. I just saw in today's when I was posting the frontline changes report, there is this new thingy where they don't allow manual position of ad breaks in what they call disruptive places. So which means and this will be enforced from the May onward. So around 2 months from now, and so which means that in the future, in May, after these things starting to become permanent, you may see me, pause a bit more to allow, some kind of a pause so that it is a valid position to drop a manual ad, something like this. Yeah, some YouTube changes, but no, so don't worry about it. I have a lot of things planned. I really hope I can get them all done. It's 2025 resolution. Let's do it, and let's punch their faces. Then let's see how this goes. Hopefully, it's going to make the videos a bit more interesting. I'm not sure. I'm just one man show. There's so much I can do. Andriivka mentioned by Ukrainians, and Ryba Prezenka by the Ukrainians. Stripny by the Russians. Then Ukraine talk about Zaporizhzhia, and then Ukraine talk about Bodanivka. So Ukrainians are talking about a lot of things. They are very talkative. So Nadievka, the Preobrazhenka, Zaporizhzhia, Sripne, Bodanivka. Geolocation of Russian forces confirm the Russian presence in the west of Zaporizhzhia. Ukrainians of Nadievka continue to show that the Ukrainians are defending as much as they can. So that's all. So no very major frontline change anymore from this sector. Over in the Andriivka front, at the Andriivka front, we have fighting at Andriivka continuing, reported by the Russians. Konstantinivka is mentioned by the Russians and Ukrainians. Rozliv is mentioned by the Russians on the 27th. Multiple geolocation of Ukrainian forces at Behatir is noted, the two of them. And Russians are basically still battling at the Battle of Andriivka, Battle of Konstantinopel, and moving towards Rozliv. There's a flurry of small mapping changes at Andriivka according to the Ukrainian mapping. So not particularly important, it's just small changes. And that's it. Over the Velyka Novosilka front, we have a big frontline change around here, where the hand looks like this. Yeah, very, very suggestive pose. If you know, you know. No? And Rozdany is mentioned by the Ukrainians on the 26th. Pro-Anicheia mentioned by the Ukrainians, sorry, by the Russians on the 27th. Skutny is by the Russians. Bulatsky is by the Ukrainians and the Russians. Privilny is mentioned by Deep State UA. Novopil by the Ukrainians. Novodarivka is by the Ukrainians. So the general situation is that the Russians are still on this northward offensive with major success over Bulatsky and Privilny. They're basically penetrating into Privilny and entering into Bulatsky. This is pretty significant. I will zoom in and fighting at Novopil and Novodarivka. So this is like a offset, off thing, and this seems to be the major push in this area here. This is another small one. And if you look at Bulatsky, the Russian forces basically have taken almost the entirety. Arguably, they have taken the entire village because this can't possibly hold Ukrainian forces anymore. And that Russians also enter into Privilny from the east. So this is a pretty significant update. And the Russians also seem to flank northward, cutting off the retreat for Bulatsky. And so cutting off the retreat and possibly attacking into another city, another village. There's a possibility. There's Shevchenko. So that's all from this Velyka Novosilka front. And then we move into the Zaporizhzhia front. At the Zaporizhzhia front, again, a lot of reports across many different places. Huyai is mentioned by the Russians on the 26th. Sharifny, interestingly, mentioned on both days by the Ukrainian Defense Ministry. So something is brewing over there. Novoporovska is mentioned by the Russians on the 27th. Novoandriivka by both sides. Novodanivka by the Russians. Stepove is mentioned by the Ukrainians. Petikaki is mentioned by the Ukrainians. And Kamsk is mentioned by the Ukrainians. So Russians also mentioned about some shelling at Shiroki, but it could also be another Shiroki, which is the Shiroki air base. But I'm not sure. Not sure which one. I'm just going to assume it to be the nearer one. So Huyapole, Sharifny, Novoporovska, Novodanilivka, Novoandriivka, Stepove, Petikaki, as well as Kamsk. So there is a geolocation of Russian strike and TOS strike on Stepove, and the Russians have making some progress over at Petikaki. They are pushing there. So this is a major push. This is very concerning if the Russians are really pushing in the Sharifny direction, and there is this constant push over this sector towards Novoandriivka and Novodanilivka. So the Zaporizhzhia front is getting hotter and hotter and hotter, and this hotness finally accumulated to the point where we have this frontline change with geolocation of Russian forces in Petikaki, confirming that they have advanced in the southern part of Petikaki. So this is a pretty significant update, which means that we might be actually now witnessing a new offensive operation. But how intense is this? How big is this? currently unknown. I don't think it's very big unless they ramp it up. It's not those one big punch offensive and then and then hope for the best. This one is like they just grind it up and up and up and up. According to my private sources, yeah, this region is totally effed. Like for the Ukrainians, like really bad. The situation is really, really bad for the Ukrainians right now in Zaporizhzhia, according to my sources. So cannot say too much because I cannot quote the source to show you what the hell is it. So yeah, you just have to trust me, bro. Trust me, bro. And trust me, bro. If you don't subscribe, you will lose your. Yeah, I try to keep it, PG. So you will lose your toys. Your toys will break, and and your mother have no money to buy toys for you. So yeah, so you must subscribe. So so Iskander hitting some UAV training center over at Shiroki. So you can see this giant Shiroki around here. The map is just not loading fast enough today. Yeah, this is the one I meant, Shiroki Airfield. So I'm not sure if this Shiroki is the one or is it this one. No, like I do not know which one the Russian Defense Ministry is referring to. So yeah, just trust me, bro. Over in the Kherson front, why is it so laggy? So we have shelling at Stepney, Ponyativka, as well as Dniprovsk. So just some shelling according to the Russian Defense Ministry, and that's about it. Nothing else happening around here. So that's it. So thank you for watching. This is the summary for the day of 1099 to 1100 for the 26th to the 27th of February. Slap the like button, teach it a lesson because it's very naughty, and because yeah, because a lot of people don't press it. So I blame the victim. Why I like that? And also press the subscribe button. Many of you, like 40% to 50%, never press subscribe. And like I said in the Frontline Changes report, if all of you guys press the like subscribe button together, I will be more than 100K. You'll be great. And then which means I will earn more money. I'll get more views, and then I'll do better reports for you. If not, then I have no money. Then just have to make do with the shitty report I'm doing. So thank you, and I'll see you guys in the next update.